Hey, everybody. I hope you all can hear me. Hope all's going well. And let's get this show on the road. First off, welcome to the every other Sunday Rooftops of America live stream, which was postponed when it was supposed to be 2 weeks ago. I'd postponed it a week. I'll start this off with an apology. And then things came up, and that completely flew by. So it's been April was a month, um, and there was a lot of stuff that went down. Um, so there was, I postponed originally for Easter and this Easter events, and then the next weekend was because um, family thing came up. Well, hello, hi, and I had to single parent for several days, and that sort of threw a quick wrench into a lot of things. Um, my wife had to make a sudden trip back to Missouri, where she's from originally, and so yeah, that was that. Hey Archie, how you doing? But we're back at it right now. Things are proceeding, not as well as I would hope, but they're going. Um, it's May, so welcome to May. Welcome to people are really starting to kick off their. Um, if George Soros paid you to be there, I'd really like a check, Eric. I'd really like to see some of that money coming in. Um, but no, I. um, that's where we're standing right now. So it's May, and high pointing season is clearly well in hand. I've been seeing a lot of updates on the 50 state high pointing group. People are really getting out and about. I will say, I did actually have I can check off another month in my uh, Ebright Azimuth board of visiting that high point every month of the year. Not a straight year. I probably should do a straight year. Like I choose 2026 and I'll visit Ebright Azimuth every month. But I can check it off for April. I think I've been there 5 months, 5 times, 6 times. I don't know. I've lost track. It's right down the road. When I go, I think I mentioned this before. When I drive to the Total Wine in Claymont, I got to drive by Ebright Azimuth. It's super easy to pull off and stop in. So there's that. Um, no, I didn't see Doreen. It was sort of a yucky day. So um, joining me tonight is Fegley's Pilsner Nocturno. It is a black Italian style Pilsner. I really dig the can art. It's got this really cool owl can art. Uh, it is a dark one, light like a Pilsner. Doesn't quite have the crispness you would normally find. The hop is not as forward. It's a little more with that dark malt, a little more robust. So it's not bad. Um, it's a little different than what you'd expect. I think, actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I think I should actually try to put together a video of some sort, an episode of some sort, because I saw it on the shelves down here. There has to be a certain amount. I know there are. Um, I know there's quite a few. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm speculating. Trying to track down every beer uh, that's named after a high point. So I know Greylock has one. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if there's an Albert one somewhere tucked along in some microbrewery, craft brewery in Colorado. I'd be shocked actually if there wasn't. Um, I'm sure there are others out there that are not readily coming to my mind, but I feel like that would be a nice little cross of something I used to do a long time ago when I wrote a beer blog and tie it into a little bit of Rooftops of America. So doing tracking down all the respective beers for all the state high points. Of course, Rainier has Rainier beer, but I'm sure there might be a craft version that is a little bit more of more in line with the style I'm looking for. So I hope you're all doing well. On things that are coming up for me right now, I hope to have California out, but alas, I wasn't the only one that had a rough April. Brett also had a relatively rough April, so that was put on hiatus. But we're back in the heart of it. We're getting it rolled out. Texas is currently being assembled right now, and I'm looking at refilming. God, I had so many high hopes like in April to get things underway that just were sort of railroaded off. I'm telling you, man, 2025 has not been a one of my standout years so far. So I'm hoping that we can reassemble this. So let's see. Hi, Jess. How you doing? I'm really glad you're here. Ron, glad you're here too. Um, yeah. What else has gone down? I will say that the second story of Fearsome Critters, taking a huge, jumping onto that other train real quick, is complete and um, it's in the edit room right now. I've got the storyboard, I've got the music. I'm just putting the pieces together, and we're slowly building up enough content to soon launch that channel, which is exciting. That is exciting. And yeah, so that's where that stands. Third story goes into production tomorrow. Yay! And hopefully we get Texas pulled together and out. Texas might actually be California because it was a rough patch. Um, but if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So both of them are top flight. And other things. I figured out what I'm going to do in June in El Paso. Yeah, Archie, June. I have to get that out in June. It'll have been 5 years almost to the date to finish that series. Uh, it's open. The document for the asteroid belt is open on my freaking computer right now. I could pull that tab up. But yes, I have. I feel like everything I say is good intention right now. So um, it's yes, I want to get that done. It would be really nice. In fact, I am not putting out Fearsome Critters until Rooftops of the Solar System is finished. So um, that's where I'm at right now with that. Depending on how things go in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to actually commit, hopefully, to Idaho in August. Fingers crossed. Like I said, weird times. Even more weird than the last time I spoke to you all. So, and in the immediate coming up, um, in addition to Fearsome Critters, I actually dusted off the Seeking the Signers stuff, and I'm starting to figure out how to shoot that and film that. So, let's see. I kind of. So, who do we all got here? Pretzel, hello. I hope you're doing well. Ultrastar, thank you for being here. What's going on? Lots and little. It's weird. It's a weird life right now. Little in the high pointing scene, lots in life scene. Um, I went on a kind of redo of a high point hike, minus lock trail. Hey, Pretzel, I hope that there was a. I hope there was water in the falls. That makes that hike so much more worth it. There's actually, if you're gonna hike down the side of the mountain, hopefully there's stuff there. Only bad thing about spring for me is I get slashed with seasonal allergies. Allergies are terrible this year. I've been laid low a couple times. That's really cool. That has to be. I've never seen it full on. I've seen it almost dry, and I've seen it like a decent amount of water. So, um, very cool, Archie. 2 year high pointing drought later this month on Mount Mansfield. That's awesome. It's a fun hike. If you guys are going to, I don't know what your intended route is, but um, it is a pretty cool. It is a cool peak. Stowe has a lot of cool stuff in it. Good food, good drink. So there's a nice little scene there. Very cool. Long Trail's rugged. Um, that's really cool. Hey, CTOS. Glad you're here. Um, the next immediate thing coming up is I think I'm going to try to get Jersey the third week of May. Not this next weekend, but the following, and refilm that. And then try to get up there before Memorial Day, the weekend before Memorial Day weekend. And so it's not too crazy, and I can actually shoot it out. I think it'd be nice to get good sound on that one. I was going to mention I got my plane tickets for El Paso for my brother's graduation from Sergeant's Major Academy. I'm so proud of him. But I booked an extra day on the trip, so I'm really looking forward to a quick day trip visit, stopping in Denver for, basically a day to go, hopefully, well, not hopefully, the intent is to go to Rocky Mountain National Park and film some footage for the Fearsome Critters series. Super excited about that. I don't think I'll have any time to climb anything. Not intending to climb anything in there. I'm just going to get some cool scenic shots and film some stuff, record some stuff, and then fly out for El Paso the following day. So the hike I want to do North Franklin Peak. It's part of the Franklins that are right by El Paso. It is the highest point in the range. I know way back months ago, one of the things I was tossing around in my head was doing if I was ever going to expand the series, that was outside of state high points, if you keep the Rooftops of America thing going, that would be a natural place to go, is the highest point in ranges, like some of the ranges, like there's numerous ranges around that, don't fall in the same bucket of, hey, state high points, and the Franklin Mountains right there. So this would be a chance. So I'm going to try to make a bit of a pilot out of it and give you see how it plays and see if people sort of like that. It's a weird thing right now that I find myself with peaks at the tail end of this, producing content for it. I got to figure out how to switch gears to keep things coming. And that might be one way to do it, is to go to the respective ranges. So, yeah, Archie, exactly. Slide is the one to get in the Catskills. So, about 6 weeks out from Mount Hood, number 43. Awesome. That's really cool. Have I done all the high points east of the Mississippi? Yes. Katahdin was the last one east of the Mississippi. So last year in September was my finish of the eastern half of the U.S. Now I just have the sort of the top left corner and Hawaii and Alaska. So let's see. Remind me of Fearsome Critters. It's not quite North American mythological creatures. It could grow into that. It's more akin to tall tale respective things. So I'm not necessarily going to go down the road of um, into the into the hardcore mythology of Native American creatures yet. Yet, let me preempt that real quick with or caveat that with yet. But more stuff like the Hodag. If you've ever been up to Tim's Hill or went to Rhinelander, you've seen the Hodag. The Snallygaster, for those fine folks in Maryland. The Jersey Devil, which actually does have a whole lot deeper roots than I think a lot of people realize. Um, so it's me. What I've done with that particular series is, well, there are two books that are out there. One's called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. It was written in 1909, 1910 by William Cox, and it's a bunch of stories of these creatures. The other one was written by, I want to say his last name is Tyron, also in the public domain. That was written in the 1930s, both in the public domain. So what I've wanted to do is tell new stories of these creatures and then put it to artwork. Um, I've got an artist on retainer that's working with me. So writing new stories, new campfire stories about these creatures, putting it to artwork and music and all that, and releasing it. So that is what Fearsome Critters is all about. Which of those eastern high points would you say is the hardest? Assuming you take the hardest trail for each. Man, if you want to, if you had to take the hardest trail for each, well, I mean, I think you could easily put up Katahdin. You could put up um, Mount Marcy. You could even put up Mount Mitchell on the Black Crest. If you took the Black Crest Trail, um, that's a pretty doozy of a trail. So, um, the hardest trail on each changes the dynamic so much on some of those peaks because now you're looking at a whole lot of work. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could find a pretty difficult trail even for something like Clingman's Dome because it's no longer just driving up and then hiking up a blacktop path to get to the summit. Uh, so, if you include all that, like, because high pointing is, you don't have to, it's not peak bagging. High pointing's high pointing. It's a different beast. It's a lot more casual. And I embrace that casual thing. I feel it's important to be welcoming to all parties. Um, and so if you're going to adopt my approach, like how you get there is how you get there. If you wanted to helicopter up to the top and fast rope over Mount Mitchell, more power to you. Uh, but for me, if you're going to take the hardest trail, then it does change the dynamic. So, um, the hardest day hike. Well, that's Black Crest Trail can be done as a day hike, but that would be a super long day hike. Um, but Marcy or Katahdin is the traditional answer. But I mean, even then, hardest trail. Once again, puts Mount Washington into the mix. And if you, once again, it's all subjective. So if you're going up Mount Washington, you just got dumped on with crap weather. Yeah, it could be a bad day. It could be a really hard day. So, um, it's one of these things where that's a good question, actually. Now that I'm thinking more and more about it, Pretzel, that's actually a really good question. I can tell you one that's not, and that's Hoosier Hill, um, the hardest trail. Hoosier Hill. I love that place. So, um, yeah, you have to do winter ascents of the east summits in the future. I should, I should. I something to consider. I think though, right now I got to get the last 7 knocked out, and then the final 3 territories. So 10 to go. 10 to go. Um, but I will be quite candid. I've got my passport application sitting beyond the computer right now, and I've been working on the side of the rooftops of the British and Irish Isles, and I make no apologies for spending time in that particular arena, writing down notes, writing out outlines, mapping things out for a couple trips to that part of the world. Um, I really, there's a nice spark with that right now that is keeping me motivated of thinking about those peaks. So more so than some of the peaks here that I'm facing. I think it's part of it because I know the work that's going to go in on the West is going to be significant. And I don't want to say the Irish and British ones are easier, but there's an allure to, going overseas. And, you know, it's been a while since I've packed my bags, and I'll be quite candid. I've had friends recently um, who've been traveling abroad, and I'm jealous. I'll be very honest with that. Like, I've been living vicariously through their adventures, and I'm a bit envious. And so that's allowed a little bit of daydreaming to come into to play. And, Ireland's pretty, Britain's pretty, Wales is awesome. Uh, I've been to the UK and Scotland, but I've never been to Ireland. So Ireland is literally one of these things that's on the quote unquote bucket list. And I I don't have my Irish ancestry is not true Irish ancestry. Uh, I have British English ancestry. And I do know at one point my English ancestors spent time in Ireland for a bit and then came back. So that should tell you a lot. Um, but I don't have the direct Irish connection. So, Jess, there's a nonstop out of Philly too. So, wait, Black Elk Peak is in a national forest? I believe so. It's definitely in a wilderness. It's definitely in a wilderness area. Got to pass the sign on the superhighway that takes you up there. You start, if you go on that traditional side or the standard side, you start in Custer State Park, where I think Sylvan Lake is, which is, you've seen pictures of it. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. And then um, you walk out of State Park, and then you walk into the wilderness. So it's cool. Beautiful area. Black the Black Hills is one of the places that I think about that place a lot. I think like there are certain high points that always come back where I was just like, man, that was so cool. And that's one of them. Like where it's like, um, I just think about that place. I find it was riveting. Um, just a beautiful piece of land. Um, Want to guess what the count is for national forest high points that are also state high points? Man, good question. That's a good question. If I had a map, I can make it a lot easier. Uh, Pretzel, let me think about it for a moment. I'll try to give you an answer before the end of the live stream. I may have missed it, but what new high points are you attending this year? Idaho. At the start in December or November frame, I was hoping for 3 new ones: Hood, Idaho, and Granite. I'm going to be absolutely lucky if I can get Idaho. That to me is now what would make a very successful high pointing year, is getting at least one new state high point. Yes, Archie, you're absolutely right. Any high point is a win. Even when I went up and drove up to Delaware, it still was a good feeling like, hey, I checked off April. But yeah, if I can do Idaho in the middle, latter part of August, it is a huge, that's going to be my win. So training's going on. I'm actually, my, my son and I are actually training together. I'm not planning on taking him to Idaho, but he has become my training partner, which is a lot of fun. Because it does keep, training by yourself sucks. It's hard. It can be a lot of work, and sometimes it's hard to drive yourself, but it's a whole lot easier when you got somebody else holding you to account. Um, are you excited for Chicken Out Ridge? Um, yes, I am, but I'm intimidated by it too, except not by the way I think you're thinking I would be. I don't mind the heights. It doesn't bother me. What every picture I've seen of it, I've never seen a good. I'm intimidated by how to film that thing and make it look like it probably appears in person. I don't know if that makes sense. So every picture I've seen of it, I don't think does it justice. So the intimidation factor for me for Chicken Out Ridge is trying to figure out a way to film it where when we're showing it in the episode, it actually is going to be like, oh, okay, I get the hype around this thing. And so that's the thing that actually has been the thing that's sort of the challenge of thinking that through is, Bora is known, and for those that have climbed this, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, I mean, it's known as an aggressive hike. Like it just doesn't quit. You start going up and you keep going up. And so, yeah, but see, Archie, this is why, we're always filming as a crew. The movie magic is we never put ourselves into positions where it's going to be dangerous. Um, and I don't ever really want to give people a perception. Um, like that's just not my style. To try to make something. Um, I want to promote positive experience and a safe approach to these things. Like this is not to be taken lightly. So I skirted around Chicken Out Ridge. It can be easily avoided. I can understand that, Eric. That makes sense. Yeah, I'd like to. I might not be able to take my son with me. He might already be in school. So don't worry. He turns 12 shortly. He's got time. He's got time. So some of those entities in there are listed as so-and-so county. It's, well, yeah, I can see that. The National Forest isn't a section of government. But that makes no sense. Never mind. Ignore that statement. That was foolish. Yeah, filming while scrambling can be tough and sketchy. Absolutely. So one of the things you'd notice, to talk that one out a little bit more, because I feel it's worth talking about, this is where the movie magic comes in. This is why I don't do the big peaks ever by myself, because you can. It's you want to be with your battle buddy, and it's important. But that also allows you the luxury to get a camera set up on a tripod or in a position established, and then you see the person approaching, and then turn the camera the other way as you go by, and then flip back and forth. Um, so that's the movie magic, and like that's the approach we've done on a lot of things. Also, the more people we have on the team, so if there's 3 or 4 of us, that means we have more cameras going, so you can capture more stuff. And that's how we tend to get it done. So, what are your 3 favorite and top 3 least favorite state high points? Okay, 3 favorites. I will once again say, based on this last November, Guadalupe Peak is easily a top 3. Love that place. Love it. Absolutely love it. Even going through the footage again and building the episode right now, man, I know you could have a bad experience out there. I don't doubt it. I love that place. If I had more time in June, I might consider going up it again. I know it'd be super ridiculously hot, but that's why you start off at 3 in the morning and step out before you're battling the heat. But I love that peak. I think it's great. I really, really liked. I really, really liked the Katahdin experience last year. I liked Whitney too. Both had their charm. That's just last year, but Tim's Hill is a favorite. There's so much about that's just wrapped up in growing up in that area. It's the Northwoods. I love the Northwoods. Like I said, I grew up there. I've known Tim's Hill all my life. So that's always going to be close to my heart. I mean, it's not the most dramatic peak. It's easy. I mean, you get a great view. But it's very subjective. Like, the reason I love Tim's Hill so much is, because it really means something to me and who I am as a person. Just because I grew up around that place. And so that one's close, near and dear to the heart. Man, I really like Black Elk Peak. Tough question, Archie. The ones I hated, and hate's a strong word, or the 3 I disliked the most, the 3 least favorite is how you phrase it, which is a better way for it. Boundaries on there, Marcy's on there, and then I've expressed my dismay about Kentucky before, a lot. So I guess Kentucky would be on there. But here's the thing. One of my all-time favorite photos that I ever took of a state high point is Boundary. I got this great picture that's frame-worthy that is the trails. You go from Queens Mine, that route, and it's the trail going down to the Sal before you start going up the first part. And I love that picture. It's everything. Like, it's just a great picture. So even though Boundary was an absolutely rough day, there's still things that came out of it that I wouldn't trade for anything. It was stunningly pretty, beautiful area. I love the austerity of like the desert in general, and that area is just ridiculously pretty. And even a place like Kentucky, it's an area where like there's so much potential. I guess the reason it's a least favorite is it has so much potential to be so much more. And even, going to it now, and you see the remains of the observation tower. And that just, to me, is another, another wedge that just it bothers me because like it would go up in my estimation if they had an observation tower. Like it, you see what was, and it's like, man, we don't even have that anymore. So it really has. There's a lot of baggage that goes with some of the like my perceptions of these are so wrapped up. They're so subjective. It's hard to be objective about it. Like I have little quirks that each there's stuff. And the other thing that gets wrapped up to it is especially the ones that I was working and filming at, that experience of did the film day go well? Uh, and so that gets sort of lumped into it too. Um, so if it was just a rough day of trying to get footage and nothing was working, and then I don't want to say you take it out on the high point, but it gets lumped into the whole experience of the thing. So um, it's sometimes it's hard to sort of separate that away. I mean, I remember last year with Whitney just sitting like on trail camp, just sitting on some of the rocks, looking out and totally getting John Muir's point on why he would have called that the Mountains of Light, the Sierra de Ligera, I think. My Spanish is very suspect, so, but still, whatever light is in Spanish, like I get that because just the way the sun played off the granite, it just is gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning. I've never seen anything quite like that before, and even you know, it. I think that's the lesson, I guess, is being open to it all. Um, and even when you have a bad day, there's still good things that come out of it. So, um, Matt Maroney, hello, friend. It has been a New York minute, man. I am glad you're here. Um, I got to talk to you on the side about other stuff at some point, buddy. So, um, yeah, and Press, that's a good point. The hikes themselves uh, could really wrap into it. Archie, for me, Eagle, Rogers, Charles Mountains are my favorite. These would be Black Mesa, Frisel, and Magazine. I didn't, I forgot about Frisel. South Slope. That was a tough day, but uh, I saw one of the coolest. I can't. It's the Lady Slipper Orchid on the when I was going down round to then go up Frisel, and I saw that orchid, and it was, oh man, beautiful, beautiful. It was great. Um, um, let's see. What's your favorite community around a high point you've completed? Whew, good question. Can't go wrong with Leadville, with Mount Elbert. Um, I really like Leadville, mainly because it still has some of that frontier Wild West charm to it. It has great Wild West history to it. Um, Rapid City is Rapid City. That's the only spot in town. I'd like to go to. Um, I love Stowe, like by Mount Mansfield. Stowe's awesome, and there's good stuff around Mount Washington too, and Millinocket also has some. But to answer the question straight, I think Stowe is one of my favorites, and so Stowe, Vermont by Mount Mansfield, and then Lake Placid by Mount Marcy. A lot of good history there too. That's a hard one. That's a hard question because you have like by Mount Mitchell, you have Asheville, which is a great community. Um, Good question. I got to give that some thought. Um, my birthday, yeah, my birthday is next Sunday. I turn 50. God save us all. um, so yes, the Dakotas are listed as Midwest states for the purposes of the high. Yes, you could make a good case that most of it's hard to differentiate. Like you're going to try to build the West, the East. Like it actually was sort of hard to sort them out. Um, so, man, it's been a year, Eric. That had. I mean, isn't it crazy how fast the time goes? And at the same time, you're just like it takes. It seems to take like some days just go forever, but it just flies. Like my son turns 12 this coming week, and I'm every so often I'm like, I can't believe he's gonna be 12. Like, what happened? I clearly remember like the abject terror of like they're letting us take this kid out of the hospital. Uh, so yeah, it's something. Just a thought: if Kentucky was to spend money on Black Mountain, they'd probably be doing more to increase tourism to the nearby Virginia towns than in. Yeah, I could see that, but there is a really cool coal mine museum. Like, there's stuff that could draw you in. Like Kentucky, that whole area, Harlan County. I know they've been putting a lot into not revitalizing, but promoting tourism into that. They could really, if they really made a concerted and coordinated effort, they could really do some cool stuff. So, the nearest town to each high point. Uh, yeah, exactly, Matt. 12. How is that possible? It's a mystery to me. I will say this: he's a really cool kid, so I feel like I'm like, yay! I really enjoyed Marcy. We went up from the garden, stopped for a night at John's Brook Lodge on the way up, and on the way down. It was beautiful. That's really cool. How about this? County high points that are inside a Six Flags theme park. Are there any county high points inside a Six Flags theme park? Maybe. Um, okay, so I know we're running on time. This one fast. I was going to make one last suggestion. I started reading a cool book by Ted Williams, not the Boston Red Sox ball player, but called Earth Almanac. I picked it up the other day, and it has a bunch of short essays on um, environmental stuff, whether it's, well, I should say more like essays on, oh man, uh, fish, crabs, bees, all sorts of really cool like little things, and uh, it's been a really fun read so far. Just short snippets, some of the essays, Mighty Ducks, just a quick little page, um, and it's really fun. I like it. I'm not going to recommend it yet. Just wanted to let you know that I started reading it, and when I finish it, maybe I will recommend it. So it has been a nice read so far. Um, the other book, I know this isn't Sky's book club, but the other book that was a really fun read was Money for Nothing. If you're interested in um, capitalism, stock markets, finance, things like this is a fascinating book about the first major financial bubble, the South Sea bubble, in the 1700s. Absolutely insane. Uh, totally different than the history I normally read. I'm glad I picked it up. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to call this a wrap right now. Um, Thanks everybody for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you. There is a St. Louis one um, gets very close. Too late to buy gold, folks. Too late to speculate in the South Sea as well, um, or on tulips. Uh, anyway, the I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I will get back on track. I will get back on schedule, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys have a great 2 weeks, and I'll see you soon. Oh, the high points in National Forest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow. I was only going to say like 9 or 10, so that's even more. So, yes, New York City borough plans are looking for July. I'll keep you posted, Archie. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you.